There was a comment on one of the recent videos asking about where officers in the Clone Wars Republic Navy came from, so I thought today we'd take a look at that topic requested by Alexandrios. After all, the Republic had no real formal standing army for generations, and the Admiralty needed to lead a galactic war had to come from somewhere. To get to the bottom of this, we'll be talking about a few examples not just from the Republic, but from the CIS as well. The first key point is that while there was not an organized galactic-level military, there still did exist the judicial forces of the Republic, and, more importantly, the sector forces and other private militaries belonging to different groups. While the Ruusan reformations from the aftermath of the last Sith Wars, 1,000 years before the Clone Wars, put a limit on galactic arms, places like Kuat and other rich worlds would even build vessels up to and beyond the size of Praetor-class battlecruisers as vanity projects. They were not able to be as heavily armed, but commanders wouldn't be starting from scratch and learning how to command large-scale capital ships and crews at the onset of the war. There weren't any large galactic-spanning wars going on, however other events at the time like the Stark Hyperspace War, Mandalorian Civil War, and other more local conflicts did give many individuals the chance to cut their teeth, although it didn't lead to the experience and tactical skill we'd later see under Rebel and Imperial leaders who'd essentially spent their entire lives embroiled in total war, from the Clone Wars to the Galactic Civil War, Yuuzhan Vong War, and all those other later conflicts. The Stark Hyperspace War of 44 BBY, or years before the Battle of Yavin, a little over a decade before Episode 1, brought the issue of galactic rearmament to the forefront of Republic politics. The senator representing the Seswana sector, Ranulph Tarkin, had long been an advocate for the formation of a dedicated Republic military. He had hoped to build and use what he called his Republic Outland Region Security Force as the springboard from which to launch his rearmament campaign. The Trade Federation's Bacta shipments had been under threat from pirates led by Iako Stark, and Tarkin planned to interrupt a summit between Senator Finis Valorum, future Chancellor of the Republic, the Jedi, and Stark's forces with his military might, crushing the pirate force once and for all. Stark had infected Tarkin's fleet, though, with a navigational virus, resulting in an uneven engagement and another officer, Jace Dallin, an aide to Tarkin, taking over his forces. The short but brutal conflict resulted in the death of Tarkin, but shows one avenue through which several prominent officers could have found their way into what became the Grand Army of the Republic. Wilhuff Tarkin, later Grand Moff Tarkin, joined the Outland Region Security Force with his brother Gideon. While Wilhuff mostly stayed on the political side, his brother Gideon remained in the military. The aforementioned Jace Dallin ended up being in charge of the entire home defense fleet of Rendili, an important planet to the Republic war effort despite some separatist sentiments within the fleet, which are a topic for another day. Others, like Gilad Pellaeon, took similar paths. He joined the military academy on Rythal, and after graduation served within the judicial forces in the type of anti-piracy missions that were standard for the forces at the time. Wolf Yularen, another prominent Republic commander, began his career at the Naval Academy on Pressbelt 4, and joined the planetary security forces of the Quaimar sector, rather than the judicials because they saw it as having more of a military tradition. As a commander following his graduation, he too took part in many successful anti-piracy and anti-slavery operations in the Outer Rim. Most notable in his pre-Clone Wars career, though, was his first failure, an operation in the year 34 BBY to be known as the Battle of Malastare Narrows. Malastare had been blockaded by a Corporate Alliance fleet under the command of Admiral Trench over fuel disputes, so the Republic sent a relief force, including Yularen, to relieve the planet. The ensuing battle saw Trench brutalize the Republic forces under Yularen. The reinforcements led by Jedi Knight Kep Shi turned the tide against Trench, leading to his being presumed dead in the battle's aftermath, although he would turn back up under the CIS in the Clone Wars. That should give an idea of the general path Republic officers had from their pre-war organizations into the Grand Army, but it also hints at some of the Separatist commanders' origins as well. Much like Trench, many would find their first commands in the well-organized and funded corporate paramilitaries, which in many ways functioned like sector defense forces in the judicials. We know less about the specific individuals making up the CIS command structure than the Republic, but they also tended to have some more local commanders in the ranks as well, alongside Dooku's Dark Jedi acolytes. The most prominent of the Separatist commanders, Kamen Jai Shalil, better known as General Grievous, was a warrior from his home planet of Kaylee in their defense against the Huk. The Huk had, through the Trade Federation, tricked the Jedi and Republic into thinking the Kaleesh and Grievous were the aggressors, limiting their ability to respond. Grievous, with nowhere else to turn, joined the banking clan as an enforcer, and soon became the victim of a plot between Son Hill, the chairman of the banking clan, and Count Dooku, resulting in the creation of the cyborg general who would lead the armies of the Separatists in the Clone Wars. This is obviously not an exhaustive list or examination of officers in the Clone Wars, and it's important to note that the Clone Wars had a lot of very local conflicts as part of the Galactic War, so you'd have stuff ranging from the somewhat galactic experience of Wolf Yularen, Pelion, Jace Dallin, down to people who had just been involved in very local conflicts on their own planet. And different amounts of experience would come from that, different rankings would come from that as well. I still hope it was enough to give a better idea of the organizational structures and where personnel came from, though, in a period where there wasn't really an overarching military on either side to build from directly. If you have any other ideas you'd like to see me discuss in future videos, please leave them in the comments. If you've enjoyed this video, please leave a like or consider subscribing for more. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you next time.